I thought I'd come back to live today. I wanted to start it off positive, so I played that little lick there. So yeah, for old me, that lick would have been just another part of my day, maybe just a warm up. But for new me, the tinnitus me, the guy who's recovered from tinnitus or is recovering from tinnitus or whatever, being able to sit down and bang out a lick like that, I will tell you, I guarantee you, 2 years ago to today, to the day, I would not have been able to do that. I would have played one note and ran into the room crying and laid down in my bed for the day and called it a day. And that's tinnitus distress. So, this is my third video, and it's true. For the last couple of years, man, I've been totally battling tinnitus, for a couple of years now. You can watch my previous video. My first video, I really ramble for a long time. I really, really do. And there's a lot of information, but you can listen to that one. And the second one, I don't even remember what I talked about. I think I just talked about similar stuff, doing a little better. I guess the update that I'm doing is I want to do a positive update. So a year ago to today, I had not returned to the workforce totally. I was sort of like walking dogs and doing side jobs and stuff like that to get by. And I was on a little bit of assistance for a while, and that sort of started to end. And I ended up building a house with a guy. I worked about 5 hours a day. I worked only 4 hours a day as a carpenter for a while. My hearing therapist told me to avoid being 8 hours a day of loud noise. So, like I've talked in other videos, I don't know if I said it or not, but I would wake up in the morning and walk a couple of dogs for a gig job, and then I would go and work construction all day from 10 till 4. I do 4 to 6 hours. And then around this time, I just decided, you know what, I really wanted to get a loan. And after a year solid of having tinnitus, was it a year? Yeah, a year. I started wanting to do stuff again, and I really wanted to go side-by-siding. I wanted to go on a side-by-side quadding. So I took a job building a fire hall, and I got into that job for a company, and I saved some money, and I got a loan, and I got my side-by-side I wanted. Then I was like, okay, well, I want to keep working. So I went up to camp. I started doing oil field work again, which I thought I'd never do again because I had hyperacusis so bad. Whenever I'd hit a hammer, even with earplugs or something, it was just crushingly loud to me. So I faced that fear. I hadn't flown in a plane since I'd got tinnitus real bad. I flew in a plane, sorted that out. I wore ear blockers the way up and then switched to some regular plugs during the flight. And then when it landed, I put some stuff back in, and that worked good. And what else did I do? My wife ended up hurting herself. She broke her shoulder, and I came out of camp to help her. I couldn't stay working in camp while she was at home, unable to function. So I came home and I kind of took care of my wife while she was really hurt, and kind of peeled me out of a little bit of the tinnitus distress. I was kind of more focused on her and taking care of my family, my dog, and my wife. Then I took a job in town and I started working. I worked my way up in the company. I became the foreman. I was running the whole job. That was pretty stressful and stuff. And I really proved to myself that even though I have tinnitus, sometimes I struggle with sleep and stuff like that. But I really have been able in the last year to really return to my trade and work my way up beyond where I was at before I got tinnitus. And then I got a phone call from a colleague, and I ended up getting a new offer to build playground equipment. And I started my own business, and now I'm building playground equipment. It's going real good, real busy. And I just ordered myself a brand new, or not new to me, 2017 Ram diesel mega cab truck. So I guess the point of this video, and then the other day I was driving around in Victoria, BC, and I knew that Victoria Long McQuaid had some deals on. And so, as you may know, when you get bad tinnitus, you'll do like anything to distract yourself, right? Like whatever it takes. I've been playing on my phone a lot since I got tinnitus, whether I'm like listening to sound therapy or watching videos on how to recover from tinnitus, or like watching movies or listening to stand up comedy. I've just been like wired to my phone for distraction for like a couple of years. And now I'm working out of town and I'm like sitting in my room, and I like sleep fine with tinnitus now or whatever. But I was like sitting there being like, I just sit and look at my phone, and then I go to sleep and I'm all wired up from the screen. I still have those weird problems. So I like told myself I need to just be sitting here playing a guitar. Like, what's the difference between sitting and doing this? Just like doing something like that, or like sitting there and like watching a movie on my phone. Like, whether I watch a movie on my phone, walk around outside, walk my dog, talk to someone, do whatever, I'm going to hear tinnitus. So that's something that I've really had to face. So if I'm going to hear tinnitus all the time, I'm going to sit in my room. Why am I going to sit there and be all anxious watching a screen when I want to be, when I could be like doing that? So I thought, yeah. And so that day, as I drove down Hillside in Victoria, I thought, I think I'm going to go on Long McQuaid. And I hadn't been to Long McQuaid for 2 years, since just the Christmas before I got tinnitus. I bought a bunch of gear. I hadn't probably been to Long McQuaid for 2.5 years. So I decided to go pick up this Kramer. It's like a little Kramer, just like what Eddie Van Halen would have endorsed back in the 80s, with just a regular wang bar and a Strat style wang bar. And this guitar was like $200 or something. It comes in this like silver sparkly blue. So for the first time in like 2 years, I got like kind of excited and grab a guitar so that I can like have something to practice when I'm out of town. And I grabbed this little amp too. This little Yamaha TH5 thing. It's like a little tiny, looks like a lunch kit. And I grabbed that amp too, and it's only 5 watts. It's very small. Very difficult to injure your hearing with that small amp. You still can, though. Don't get me wrong. You can still injure your hearing with a small. However, it's less likely because it's not a big blasting amp. So I really wanted something that I can sit in my hotel or my Airbnb, wake up first thing in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning, practice guitar for an hour. My tinnitus is lower in the morning, it seems like. So what I've discovered is that if I can get myself to sleep by 9:30 or 9, and then get up at like 5:36, I can usually sit there and, play my little song or whatever, and feel kind of like I did something for myself. Because what I find is when I come home from work, I don't know if it's my mental activation or physical activation, probably a combination of both, but I feel like my tinnitus is really loud when I'm tired at the end of the day, or if I had a bad sleep or a busy day with work. So I've started to adopt this morning routine. So I don't know. When I first got tinnitus, it was like the most destructive thing I've ever experienced in my life for me. And it's really been hard on me and my family, everybody. And the first year probably was the hardest. The first 3 months, 3 weeks were really, really bad. And I've gotten through that part, and I still do have anxiety about it, at least probably every week or something. I totally notice how loud it is. Sorry, I will say this. It's possible now for me to relax and feel tired like I do right now, kind of like that dozy, sleepy fall kind of hibernation feeling that I hadn't felt before when I had tinnitus. I just felt pure anxiety. So I guess what my video is today is like just like an observation video, just like noticing that like when I first started doing tinnitus therapies and cognitive behavioral therapy or anything to do with changing the way I'm thinking about tinnitus, I found it very difficult. And I still do. Like I'm actually fundamentally like a negative character. Like I got good at playing guitar because I'm always like, you know, you could do that better, faster, more, right? And my whole thing is, oops, I made a mistake there. Better go to fix it again. And then when I work as a carpenter, I'm like really into being accurate and knowing what I'm doing. And if I don't, then I get super mad at myself and blah, 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 blah. So one thing I've gotten better at is like a little bit more positive self-talk, a little bit more hope for the future, a little, and all the regular things that you learn with tinnitus therapy. Doesn't matter how I got it. It, I have it. It accepting the fact I just hear it all the time instead of being like, do I hear it now? Do I hear it now? Do I hear this? Do I hear that? That really wears you down to constantly checking it and checking it against things and listening to the volume and all that stuff that goes along with that. I have worked in loud environments again with earplugs, of course. I do have electronic hearing protection that like automatically does it for you. It's pretty cool. I've done a lot of work. So I guess my thing with tinnitus now is tinnitus does suck. Like it really kind of does. Like you don't have to like it or whatever. But I really have reframed like a lot about how I feel about it and how much I'm willing to allow myself to feel about it. And I have kind of noticed that the perception of it is like reduced a bit, or like, I can go. So I don't feel like it's like impairing me if I want to like mess around on guitar a bit. Going to work, I'm like pretty successful at work again. I'm buying a new truck. I have business ideas. I can like run machines and I like doing stuff. I like working as a carpenter. All that stuff is all good. I run impactors all day and everything, and it's like whatever. So I guess the video is basically like a short video of saying there is hope. There is hope for the future. A couple of years ago, I thought I was going to like blow my brains up because of tinnitus. Like I like for sure thought I was not going to last long. Like I didn't think I'd make it, and I did. I did. I kept on doing the work. I kept on listening to the therapists. I kept on adopting the policies towards it and the right things to do, and I feel like I can get through my day and I can actually have some happiness. I'm actually like kind of more like I used to be, where I'm like worried about scratching my truck, or I'm like interested in buying this thing, or I'm like stressed out about money because I'm doing a business thing right now. Just the regular stuff that people are like stressed out about, like, not stressed out about the tinnitus day to day, but I'm hearing it constantly. It's always there. It never goes away. But it seems duller, or it seems hard and like less or quieter a lot of days. And falling asleep, I only have trouble falling asleep because I'm wired up about something to do with work, or I'm making myself anxious about work, or I'm stressed out about money, or I'm in pain. But rarely is it really the tinnitus making me stay up anymore. I'm just sort of used to that. Driving sometimes, like I was driving back from Victoria the other day, and it seems so loud, so annoying. Like when I'm driving, sometimes it's just like, from what I've read, it's like the fight or flight of driving kind of like can activate it, because the whole thing is like a fight or flight based thing. When you're like driving, you're automatically activated, and that's kind of what I notice is that when I'm activated, it's a lot more strong. So I have to be like more careful and like wind down when I need to and take it easy, eating a little bit better. I had McDonald's the other day for a couple days in a row. I was on the road. I didn't care. My tinnitus was like screaming after that. I don't think that all foods cause tinnitus, but I think things like McDonald's, lack of sleep, pain, and stuff like that, they can like make you just notice it more because you're just not as well. So like general wellness, I'm really working at that. Try not to have TV before bed on work nights, or at least have it like well before bed at like 8 at night or 7, not like 10. And I take my sleep meds a little earlier too. I don't take them like right when I go to sleep. I have some herbal and some prescription or over the counter sleep meds. I take them like a couple of hours early. So I have a lot of ideas and tips and tricks and how to cope with tinnitus, and it's gotten me through. And I will say this though, maybe my reaction isn't always perfect. I can't say that I totally like it and that every day is great. But what I will say is that I have managed to pay my mortgage the whole time, and now I've started a business and gone into debt to get tools and whatever it is you got to do to start a business. It can be quite overwhelming. I had to get a new truck, every sort of stuff like that. Like I have a nice half-ton truck, but I wanted to have a 1 ton. So I will say that maybe my reaction is still kind of off and on, hit and miss, but I will say I have managed to return to a successful career, a successful life. I'm a construction worker by trade. I'm a journeyman carpenter. So my next thing that I'm going to do is start an excavation company. So I want to buy a mini excavator, a low bed dump trailer. I just secured a loan on a 2017 Ram diesel, and I just want to set myself up to work because I think stress and some of these jobs that I was doing before I got tinnitus really bad triggered off some of the tinnitus. And I was working for a really big industrial company at the time, and all of a sudden I found myself with tinnitus. Drilling a lot of holes in the concrete. They were pushing me mega hours, holding onto a little jackhammer drill all the time. And I've done a lot of jobs like that. I've done like 15 years of work like that. And at my last job, when I was the foreman, I got to go in the Bobcat, and I was scared. This is someone who's had tinnitus for a year and a half, really bad. And they're saying, oh, we want you to drive the Bobcat. So I put my molded earplugs in and I jumped in that Bobcat. And I was like, this is fun. I can drive the Bobcat. It's a little bit hard on the body, but nothing like what I do as a carpenter. And so when I started doing the play equipment with my colleague there in the last month, I've really enjoyed installing play equipment, and having a mini excavator can totally help with all the stuff involved, drilling the holes in the ground and everything. So my goal now is I got the truck set up. Now I just got to save up, get a mini excavator, and then dump box trailer, and then I can like probably do that for the next 15 years and bill out at about 5 times as much as I was making as an employee, and spend less time standing out in the rain and more time running the mini X. And you can listen to music in them if you want or whatever. So just the fact that I have these goals and I'm doing these things now in my life is a big milestone for me, because there was a time for about a year where I was going nowhere in life at 40 with tinnitus, wondering if I'd ever do my trade again, go back to work again, be able to deal with people, loud voices, talking, anything like that with hyperkisses. So that's my take from it, is maybe I don't record in the recording studio anymore, but I'm able to like plunk away at the guitar a little bit. And for me, that's a big thing, because as a musician or whatever, I watch a lot of society glued to the phones, and I am too, and the computer. But what's really nice after work or whatever is to hang out and just like hold a guitar like this. It's like made out of nice wood, it's like nicely engineered. It feels good in your hand. You're not in front of a screen. Well, I am right now, but when I'm practicing, maybe not. Or I am, but I'm not like doing something creative. And I've really let tinnitus steal that from me, and that sense of accomplishment and peace and stuff that I get from like playing on a guitar by myself in my hotel room or whatever. Maybe just making a riff. You're just like, oh, there's my night. And I can hear it just fine, but I do hear ringing. So I'm just really working at it. Just like when I started playing music, I kind of would do ear training. Like, what scale is this? Or, and you're like, oh, it's this note, or these 2 notes, or these 2 notes. And so it's kind of like that. Like, you kind of like retraining your ears. Just like tuning the guitar. I couldn't always tune a guitar like that. There was a time that just grabbing a guitar and would be hard for me when I was 10 years old or whatever. And I learned how to tune the guitar over time. Now I can tune the guitar. Now I have tinnitus, and I can still tune the guitar real good. So that came from ear training. And once I kind of had it put to me in that way, where it's, you know, you're doing ear training, and you're identifying those notes, that kind of is what learning how to live with tinnitus is. You're learning how to retrain your ears to hear, you know, or whatever you're doing. You kind of like learn how to retrain your ears to hear with your new hearing. It's like the new normal or whatever. Which, as much as I hated that in COVID, my hearing is my new normal. And yeah, I'm doing a lot better. I'm hoping that eventually I start making some music again. I would love to like work in the recording studio, and I'm starting to believe I will after like maybe a year and a half of like really never wondering if I ever would really do music again. I was like afraid that I'd be in the studio like listening to music and I would wear out my ears more. But my tinnitus hasn't really gotten any worse because I have an awareness now. I have a variety of hearing protectors and stuff. I always have the right tool for the job wherever I go for hearing protection. I'm not getting a lot more hearing loss. And I know I never take the risk of going to a concert without it or driving a motorcycle or being in work area without it. So, you know, I do think we can heal. I'm really hoping that it gets even better or that my reaction just gets better because I like having my life. I like playing music. I like meeting up with friends. I jammed with a friend last week for the first time in 2 years. It was like such a milestone. And you could tell she was like liking it because we were playing some songs we used to play back in like high school, and we're like in our 40s, and we were like banging out these songs perfect, and like they're cool. But then I told her this is the first time I've sat down and jammed with somebody in 2 years, right? And all of a sudden she was like, "Oh, that's heavy." I'm like, "Yeah." Before I would just play the guitar and cry and then go think about killing myself, but now I can actually sit there. I sat there for an hour and played music with her, so. You know, I know how it can be right at the beginning. It can be so annoying, so shitty. You think it's never going to stop, and I don't know if it does stop. You know, I don't answer your question for me, but I will tell you that you will learn to accept and adjust to it at some point. You kind of have to sink or swim. So, I know I ramble and stuff, but I have been offering people like the odd free counseling appointment or something. So if you are interested in doing a little talking about tinnitus, a little talk therapy, or you want to learn, have me send you a few YouTube links and stuff for what you're interested in, you know, for sound therapy or whatever, give me a private message. You can message me on here or you can message me on Facebook. Either way, I'm around and I enjoy giving back. I enjoy helping people. So, you know, let me know. I'm around. Hope that this is inspiring for you, and I hope it gives you some hope and into the future that, you know, 2 years ago, I was like in the depths of despair, and now at least I am like sort of living my life. Even if I still struggle with it, at least I'm, you know, successful business wise and stuff like that. So, you know, you can turn it around. So hope this reaches you well and talk to you all soon. Bye.